Good evening. Today is December 15th, 2025, and the time is 7 p.m. This meeting of the Prosper ISD Board of Trustees is hereby called to order according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Representing the quorum this evening, we have Mr. Webb, looking fabulous tonight, and please describe your sweater for us.
These are some rowdy raccoons that are having a dance party with a DJ.
Love it.
Pretty phenomenal. It barely fits me still. I apologize. So,
Mr. Dial, I love the blazer this evening.
keep it classy.
Great. There we go. Very good. Mrs. Dixon in the candy cane sweater, looking nicer than the rest of us. Mr. Cavender has on one of my favorites.
Darth Vader.
There we go. Darth Vader at Christmas time, of course. Mr. Linker. And Mr. Van Wolf looking very festive this evening. He has a great story to go along with this.
Amazon delivered it very small. I apologize. It was a quick pivot this afternoon.
Must sent yours to me.
I think they switched, yeah.
And I'm Bill Beavers wearing the lovely Grinch sweater that my kids think is funny. So, big fan of Dr. Seuss. So, the Board of Trustees extends its heartfelt gratitude to our entire Prosper ISD community. In Prosper ISD, we unite students, families, teachers, staff, and the larger community in the relentless pursuit of excellence. Together we champion, we support every student's journey to excellence. Together we cultivate, we create meaningful connections across our growing community. Together we empower, we develop our people to lead and inspire growth. Together we prosper, we unite in shared purpose while honoring individuality. Your collective commitment to Prosper ISD is what makes our district thrive. Thank you for choosing and supporting our schools. If you would please join me in prayer this evening. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything that you've given us. Lord, we just, here in the Christmas season, as we look forward to getting together with family and friends, we thank you for the greatest gift you could give us in your Son, Jesus. The first miracle that he had there on that first Christmas, coming to us, the life that he lived, and ultimately the action that he took for us on the cross. Father, thank you for all of that. Father, thank you so much for this community that we call Prosper ISD. Lord, the students, the families, the teachers, the staff, everyone in it, we ask that you continue to hold your hand of blessing and safety on our community as we go into this time of year, when we're together with family and friends, and as we're traveling also. Just keep everyone safe and bring us back here in the new year, ready to go for the spring semester. Father, lastly, this evening, we pray for the board. We ask for wisdom and discernment, as always, as we weigh the many decisions that are before us tonight. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you would please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mrs. Dixon, would you mind reading the board vision this evening?
Absolutely. The board's vision is to ensure a safe and supportive educational environment that promotes academic excellence and opportunities, honors traditions, fosters student learning, facilitates effective recruitment and retention of talented educators, and grows all people at all levels.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. As always, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act as outlined in Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. All of our voting must be conducted in public. However, we can privately discuss certain items, including but not limited to matters regarding individual employees, individual students, land acquisitions and real estate, school safety and security, and issues that require legal advice. However, after that private discussion, any final vote must be in complete view of the public. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, the agenda for tonight's meeting was posted for public viewing at least 3 business days before this meeting. We will now have in front of us important dates coming up for y'all to keep an eye on. And then that brings us to the celebrations portion of the meeting.
Yes, we have some staff members with us tonight and then a little entertainment for later. So our District of Distinction for our Art Education Association, we have received that. Over 1,200 districts were eligible to apply for the Visual Arts Award through TAEA, and 109 districts received this outstanding honor for the 24-25 academic year. The Visual Art Administrators of Texas recognizes districts with exceptional leadership in promoting the arts within districts and communities. And announcing Prosper ISD as a district of distinction, TAEA stated Prosper ISD's visual arts program met or exceeded a rigorous 14-point rubric. The rubric examines the district's visual art program for participation in TAEA through membership, exhibitions, contests, and community engagement in the visual arts through field experiences, community service, and collaboration with other content areas. We were impressed and proud of their level of participation in visual art learning experiences at all grade levels. On behalf of the Fine Arts Department, we have several of our team leads here to be recognized, along with Assistant Director of Fine Arts, Mr. Tim Doyle, and Fine Arts Coordinator Amanda Larson. Y'all with me? Yes, I'm going to call them. Violet Delaney from Richland High School. Ashley Zai from Rogers Middle School. Okay, I'm gonna go through your last name.
Miss Wright, where's the jumper? Where's the jumper?
Yes. Okay, your name, Julia. Yay! Jewel Stoll from Folsom Elementary. Ian Rock from Walnut Grove High School. Liz Arnold from Hughes Elementary. Tyler from Wright Farms Elementary. I want to say a special thanks to each of you, and certainly our art teachers that didn't make it tonight, but really all the art teachers in the district. Art is in fine arts. In many of our fine arts programs, there are performing art. Art, obviously, is a visual art, and so you don't always get to see the grand display that you do at a theater performance or an orchestra performance because they get on stage and they perform. But some of the most incredible art that comes out of our classrooms is because of these highly skilled educators who truly pour into our kids and help them find a way. I was talking to a student at Richland High School today who said, art is my thing, it is who I am, and it's my outlet for so many things, and it's given me confidence and leadership that I didn't know that I had. So it goes well beyond painting or ceramics or something that a student creates. So I just wanted to say thank you as your superintendent, but certainly on behalf of the school district for what you're doing for each of our students to help them find their place and a place that they belong.
All right, 3, 2, 1, everybody take a smile. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next up, we have our CREST Award, and this is for our counselors reinforcing excellence for students in Texas, and that's what CREST stands for. It's a top distinction from the Texas School Counselor Association. The award celebrates the counselors who are passionately guiding and uplifting every student they serve, ensuring their campus counseling program prepares students to be public, career, and military ready, while also prioritizing their mental health and personal growth. For counselors, it signifies program excellence, official statewide recognition that the counseling program meets the highest standard of the Texas model. Data-driven results prove that their guidance efforts measurably improve student academic, career, and personal and social development. Leadership, validation of their role as leaders and advocates who ensure the counseling program is vital to student success. continuous improvement, a commitment to evaluating and refining their program for ongoing effectiveness. Tonight, we recognize counselors from 4 campuses who have received this award. It wasn't too long ago that we only had one counselor who was receiving this designation, and she actually has a return performance tonight. So if Brooke Sanson from Winsong Ranch Elementary School will please join. We have last name, then the return. Moving on to elementary school. Angie Castro from Stuber Elementary. Christine Massey from Rogers Middle School. From Walnut Grove High School. I have to say formerly Rogers Middle School. Once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. Amber Burt, Rogers Middle School. Miss Berg is an OG. She's been around a while here in Charleston. And Dee Dee Alford, Rogers Middle School. First, I'd like to invite up Alexis Webb, who is our Executive Director of Guidance and Counseling. She does an exceptional job, and for many, many years, 12 years now, I guess, in the district, somewhere around there, has built this program from just a few counselors to many counselors in the district. I had the honor of being able to have lunch with our counselors because of Prosper Education Foundation. Thank you. And I was blown away. We had to do it in 2 different sessions to get everybody in, so that's how much it's grown. But really, Ms. Webb, from the moment she started here as a counselor, and then grew into the central office position to guide counseling. And we're very, very thankful for her, and certainly thankful for each of you. There's so many stories that you hold with you, of heartache and joy and celebration and all the things in between, and we know that the job is not always easy, but we're certainly very, very grateful for the work that you're doing, and in the midst of all of that, to go after such a high honor as the Crest Award. So congratulations to you.
Everybody ready? 3, 2. Thank you.
Congratulations. That's not Amber Burke, by the way. We've got 2 Amber Burks, and that's not the one on the screen. The one that's actually here is the real Amber Burke. Sorry. Next up, we have the Stuber Elementary Choir under the direction of the Teacher of the Year from Stuber Elementary, Miss Nancy Allen. And they were here to perform Sing for Joy in a nice December day. I can't wait.
Great job.
Our soloist was Anya, and then we have a soloist for our next song, A Nice December Day. This is Abeni.
There's a cloud on the clouds. There are very, very signs. There are smiles that help your troubles melt away. There is joy in the air. There is music everywhere. Oh, it seems just right to be this way. It's a nice December day. There's a glow all around. There are very merry sounds. There are smiles that help your troubles melt away. There is joy in the air. There is music everywhere. Oh, it seems just right to be this way. It's a nice December day. Oh, it seems just right to be this way. It's a nice
Job. Nice work. Great job. Great job, guys. Nicely done.
Very good.
Okay, let's meet you at room 108.
Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Give me some notes. Give me some notes. Give me some notes. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Okay, that now brings us to the intermission portion of this. We're going to let parents, some of y'all pick up kids, teacher. Kids are in 108 for y'all to pick up from there. It will also give the rest of y'all, teachers, some of y'all, I know that y'all have got some things to plan out for tomorrow as well. You are more than welcome to stay, but if y'all want to sneak out, this would be a good time.
Gotcha.
Now, go back in, see if the heat will catch up a little bit. Those of you that have a jacket on, it's probably a good call right now. Got a little cool there. Okay, I've got to read a little bit to get through this, so this will now be the public hearing portion. The next item on the agenda is the public hearing regarding the petition for detachment and annexation filed with Prosper ISD by residents of a certain portion of the Windsong Ranch community located in the town of Prosper, Texas. This hearing will be conducted in accordance with Texas Education Code Section 13.051. The petition for detachment and annexation was presented to the district on October 20th, 2025, as required by law. The district published written notice of the proposed detachment and annexation, and this public hearing in the Star local media on December 5th, 2025, and the Prosper ISD website and at the Prosper ISD Administration Building on December 9th, 2025. The petition before us seeks the detachment of property currently located within the geographic boundaries of Denton ISD and the annexation of that property to the Prosper ISD district. The property in question is located within the town of Prosper in Denton County. If approved by the respective boards of the two districts, this petition would result in the reduction of the geographical boundaries of Denton ISD and expansion of the geographical boundaries of Prosper ISD. This hearing will be conducted in 3 stages. First, the petitioners and/or their representative will be given the opportunity to speak. Should they choose to do so, we will allot 15 minutes in total for this presentation. Second, the administration will provide information regarding the statutory requirements for detachment and annexation and relevant data regarding the affected territory and the required factors for consideration in processing this petition. Third, affected persons or community members will have an opportunity to present comments to the board. Anyone who wishes to speak must have signed up online by 12 p.m. on Friday, December 12th. Instructions for signing up to speak were included in the board hearing notice. Each speaker must limit their comment to 3 minutes. At the close of the regular meeting, the board will convene into closed session to consult with board's legal counsel. The board will then return to open session to consider the adoption of a resolution regarding the petition. The board will consider the information presented, make findings regarding the anticipation effect of the petition, and ultimately adopt a resolution approving or disproving the petition. Questions from board members should be reserved until after all presentations are made. The petitioners may now present any information or comments on this matter. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and identify your connection to this matter, whether you are a resident of the affected territory or a representative of the residents. With that, Mr. Charles, I will give you the floor and the 15 minutes of time.
I could barely hear it, but it's good enough. Thank you, board, for meeting with me tonight and hearing our petition. I want to walk through a presentation. I've sent that to you earlier. We've been in communication with the district since February to talk about the petition and the process and to try to engage throughout the process. And so I appreciate finally getting the opportunity to present our facts and our position. Tonight, besides myself, Heather Ratton and Jeff Sterling will also be presenting a little bit tonight as we go forward, and I think some people in the public comments will as well. So Doug Charles, 4360 Mill Branch Drive. I'm in the impacted area, and so that I represent the entire petition of the 360-some people that signed it. And I think as I've just walked in, I think 321 individuals have emailed you throughout our system. So for the audience who is here tonight, I'll also be speaking to you as well, because this impacts every taxpayer, not just us. So as Bill outlined in the presentation, this is a formal petition. There are 3 primary questions that you have to answer tonight and that the state will also be answering, assuming you approve, which we hope you do. It will go to the TEA commissioner for final evaluation. First question is, what's in the best interest of the students in the territory? And most importantly, what's the social, economic, and educational effects? Before we get started, what makes this completely unique in all of our research is that we're the only district in the entire state for 45 years that we went through and looked that has the students already attending the attached area that we want to come to. So for the audience, we're attending already through a contract with PEF and Prosper ISD and Windsong Ranch. So we're not asking to move students from Denton ISD to you. You're already picking us up on buses. You're already educating us. We're already attending every school. We're walking to the schools. We're driving to the schools. We're playing on the sports teams in the schools. We're full participants right now. So that's what makes this unique, and this is exactly what this particular code was designed to correct. Our boundaries were created in 1952 from our research. This wasn't even contemplated in 1952 what it would be like today. And it was wonderful that before, for context and history, with Drew Watkins and all of us who were meeting on this, and the developers, there tried to be a land swap. Because during the development, it could be a land swap. It wasn't able to be worked out. So the land swap was going to be for our area, for what is now known for everyone that lives in there would be Kroger. They obviously, Drew and the ISD leader at the time, could not reach agreement, and that was wise. So what the petition allows us to do now is puts it in the voters' hands. So we've been waiting for 5 years to get to enough voters in the lots to be able to do the petition so we can move everyone and not just sections, because we had opportunities to move sections. So just to start there for everyone, we're already attending, fully attending, and you're not getting all your money that you deserve and that we want you to have, especially since you have a $28 million gap. So there are 274 students. I know that every day there's some students moving in, so you might have a little higher student counts. We do attend Windsong Ranch and all those places. The dearest high school is 5 miles away compared to just right across the street. What students gain from the annexation? They gain permanency. How would it be like for each of your students that you have kids to not have permanency? This contract can be null and void. How can it be null and void? WSR, HOA, which will be in the homeowners association's full owner's hands in less than 3 years, could just not pay the deal anymore. Just say, I'm going to breach the deal. Breaching it breaks the contract. That is how simple this contract could be broken. I want permanency. The homeowners want permanency. The students today deserve permanency. This is not like trying to do anything like trying to move in. We're just trying to stay in. Stability for future and current residents. It is a market condition of our home. There's been a lot of discussion on Garrett's Facebook post about, hey, we are in a nice area of the subdivision. These are really nice homes. And of course, as homeowner, I've graduated 3 of my kids. I chose Prosper ISD. I chose my home. And just to dispel the myth, we weren't told when we acquired our homes. You'll hear Angela talk tonight in a public session. We were not told. We were told that we were a part of Prosper ISD, period, end of story. None of us knew about the contract until after we had acquired our homes. So we didn't come in knowing for sure. We had to learn about this contract. So we want stability for our future and for our current, and obviously we want a voice in our governance. We think we deserve that voice. But more importantly, what do they lose? They would lose everything if that contract was null and void. That's a scary position for us to be in, is that a contract as simple as something as Windsong Ranch, HOA, deciding not to pay the bills anymore. That's just one way that contract could be broken. A lot of other ways it could be. So understanding the tax rates, a lot of discussion around that. Hopefully you've seen it. The difference here is we have a tax rate, we have golden pennies, copper pennies. I've learned more about school financing. I hope that the state passes something that's really reasonable to simplify all of our lives. It is complex. It takes a math degree to even be able to figure it out. And I had a lot of good people trying to help me figure it out. And I think we're pretty close. But the bottom line is the tax rate times our assessed value. My assessed value, I got it sourced from Denton County CAD. The difference between what you may have and what we have is I counted lots and green spaces. There's 466 lots and green spaces. Not all of them are going to have homes, but all of them are going to pay taxes. Windsong Ranch will pay taxes if they own it. The HOA will pay taxes on those green spaces. So when you look at the 466 lots, it's $533 million as of September 30th. There's more moving in. I think there's 20 or 30 homes that have sold since I've turned in the petition. More voters moving in. So you take the tax rate that we have, and for the audience, copper pennies and golden pennies. Golden pennies mean they can't recapture. INS rates, they can't recapture. Recapture is a very complex way called Robin Hood, for lack of a better term, where our money and excess gets redistributed to other school districts. So even if we had recapture, which we all will talk about here in a second, those aren't recapturable. And so we're trying to give our district money for the services you're providing. So today, what does the ISD pay? Using your own data today, it costs about, they do get our state fund dollars. So the state attendance dollars come into the organization. at about 6,100 or whatever that says. I can't see. I need some more glasses. That number, that 6,000 number, is about what the state sends on each one of our attendants. So our taxes give one half, the state gives the other half. So you're already getting the state attendance dollars. Denton ISD does not get those. We do. That's one payment. Then according to your own budget, it costs about $13,000 to educate a student. So that means right now, just on our 274 students, I think there's like 299 or 300 students now, in my last count, you're already in a deficit position. You're losing money to educate our kids. And we are desperately here. And why this is not a 7-0 jump up and down joy vote right now baffles me. It absolutely baffles me that we're trying to make a wrong right by making sure you have money to educate the students that you deserve and that you've earned. It's not, Bill, that you didn't earn it. You're earning it. We want to make sure you get it. This is personal for us. It would be personal if you were on our side as well. So it costs money. And then here's where it looks like the money that we would be trying to give to you. Oops, how do I back up? There we go. The new local tax revenue, as I talked about earlier, the golden pennies and all those wonderful things, we have two major components for those who maybe not be budget perspective, because I didn't know about budgets as well. M&O funds our teachers' salaries and all the stuff that makes going around. The INS rates pay our bond debt. That's what that's for. So look at it, it's about $6.5 million on $533 million of assessed value. That would come in as net revenue on top of the state dollars. So we get state and the annexation. I looked at, again, this is very complicated. I'm glad you guys have all kinds of staff and experts. Hopefully, when Jeff talks, he'll have a better view on some of that. But when the copper pennies, that is recapturable. I think it's about that number there, about 300,000. Could be higher, could be lower. And then there is an allocation. So earlier on, history, when we couldn't land swap, it is now a debt swap. So right now, Denton ISD has gone, just like Prosper ISD has, and they bond on your house. And a part of that bond is how they pay debt, and that comes out of the INS rate. So instead of land swapping, it is now debt swapping. So there's a percent allocation that will come with our district, with our homes. And that's about 2.4 million, 2.3 million. In Denton ISD, in their hearing, I don't know if you watched the hearing, they said it was 22 million. I think their numbers were way off. I think it's more like 30 to 35 million, right? Their debt payment was going to be like 1.7, they said. I think we're closer to 2.4, 2.5. But either way, when you take the new property taxes that we're bringing to the district and you minus out some recapture, and most importantly, you pay the debt, I did over 15 years, you still year one have a $3.7 million positive. To put that in perspective for the teachers that are still in this room, that's like 50-some teachers at $65,000 to lower classrooms. That's like $1,800 worth of a bonus and a debt or a pay increase. Those are real dollars. It's not going to Prosper Education Foundation, which is going to get $400,000 or $500,000 this year, and a declining revenue because as Windsong Ranch builds out, it's going to go down. And the PEF is going to be absolutely okay. They have had 12 years, and they now have $3-some million sitting in the bank in assets. They're going to be just fine with or without Windsong Ranch's contribution. They'll go back to what they always did, raised money, funded through golf tournaments. Heck, some of us may still donate. But it shouldn't be taxation. It's a double taxation on every homeowner in Windsong Ranch. If it's such good, I want every one of you to sign up your subdivision and commit to your home, selling your home, and you're going to give a percent of equity to your home, to them. Because that's what you're asking of us. That's just wrong on itself. But I'm very thankful that Drew created this opportunity so that we had the opportunity to be holistic, because it's 15% of Windsong Ranch that's a part of these homes. So $3.7 million, if you turn it down, That again, it baffles me that I'm even having to pitch this hard. I pitched hard to Denton, trying to convey to them that it was in their best interest, because I really believe that Prosper tonight will show up and it'll be a 7-0 vote. I believe that in my heart because I believe it's such a compelling case. And then Denton, when it goes to the TEA. The TEA has had Supreme Court, Texas Supreme Court rulings. We're going to be fine there with your support. Denton didn't challenge any signatures yet. They didn't challenge anything. So when it comes to the court, if they choose after the commissioner rules on our favor, because the commissioner will rule on our favor, because it is in the best interest of every student. It is in the best interest of the Prosper ISD. Financially, it's in the best interest. Even if it only generated $1, when that debt payment at Denton ISD is paid for in 12 to 15 years, it will then be negative or positive revenue, however you want to spin it. Your legacy 20 or 30 years from now, when we're all pushing up dailies, will be, did you do the right thing today to make this school district more financially healthy? It's not about today. It's about 30 years from now, 60 years now. We're going to have bonds that we're going to be able to help pay for with our assessed value. So $3-some million, you're going to come up to something around that number. Even if you net out our $1.8 million that you're already upside down, it's still $1 million. If I ask each you want $1 million, I'm sure you're going to take it, individually and collectively. So again, recapture, why it's minimal. I only focused on the recapture of the copper pennies because it was simple and easy, because the rest of it gets real complex, and we're still just tier 1. Learned a lot about that as well, so there's not much recapturable at this current rate. The WADA and the ADA, those are already got our students, right? You already got our students, so it's not bringing new student count, so everything's just going to flow just right.
Mr. Charles.
Huh?
60 seconds.
60 seconds. So $13 million, $375 million is what it looks like in 30 years. This is the impact right here to homeowners. Do not buy the narrative. It's less than $100 a year right now between Denton and Prosper ISD. It'll only get better for Denton because Denton not under compression. We are in Prosper ISD. So it's less than $100 difference a year in the home when you just do the simple math. This presentation's online. Go do the simple math. Tax rate comparisons, why it makes sense. There is no social impact. We've already talked about this. Funding future bonds. There's a part of the rule that you get to refinance. You do not have to go to the taxpayers to refinance if you choose to refinance. That is important to understand your rights if you say yes. So PISD continues to educate the 274 to 300 students. You receive zero
Great
tax
time.
revenue today. You're subsidizing the taxpayers in this place are subsidizing our education, and we're just trying to bring it home.
Mr.
We're
Charles,
just trying to bring it home,
thank you, sir.
and I appreciate it, and I'll entertain any questions. But at the end of the day, this is the right thing to do. And I beg you and implore you, make it a 7-0. That's the last slide right there. This is your fiduciary duty. Don't forget that.
Mr. Crownover, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, my role here this evening is simply to provide information as required by the statute to the board. Before I dive into that, I think it's important for me to establish a couple things. The first is, neither me nor anybody in the administration is taking a stance on this tonight. This is 100% a board decision, and so this should not be viewed as advocacy either for or against the position, purely a statutory role that we have here to provide information to you. So that's one thing, just to, I hope you'll understand as we go through this. The second thing is, you're gonna see a lot of numbers in here tonight. You just saw a lot of numbers. The school finance system in Texas is a mess, if I may use that word, and it's very complicated, and our legislators down in Austin have made it that way. And it's based on a lot of variables. And so the only thing we're really able to do is make estimates. And so you're gonna see some numbers tonight. It's a good time to shout out Carrie Croy and our finance team. They worked super hard on this, spent a lot of time on it. These guys are experts in their field, have spent a lot of time on this. And so just provided the best estimate that we could provide with these numbers, so that's what you're gonna see here tonight. So without further ado, we will go through the things we're required to share with you as it relates to the statute for this hearing. So you can see up there, we got this request back in October, and you know what we're trying to do, or what the petition's trying to do is move land in the ISD boundary from Denton over to Prosper. Windsong Ranch, it's currently in Denton ISD. We got approximately 220 acres. And there's about 420 lots that build out, 350 homes-ish there right now, and about 299 school-age students currently in the school district. And there's the map, in case you didn't know what we were talking about. The history there, and we'll do this briefly, I think you all are aware, back in 2014, Windsong Ranch entered into an agreement with Prosper ISD to allow students from Prosper ISD, from this Windsong Ranch affected area to attend Prosper ISD as full students, including transportation and everything. And in exchange for that, they agreed to pay 0.3% of the sale price of every home sold to the Prosper Education Foundation. That was finalized in 2020 as a more formal agreement, but it's been going on since 2014. So that's a situation we're in right now, and that's a little bit of the history. It is kind of a unique thing. There aren't a lot of examples of this statewide, but this is the situation that we find ourselves in today. We asked PEF for some numbers. So for the last 3 years, that's about $3.1 million that PEF has gotten through this agreement, about 4.5 overall. So it's not an insignificant amount of money that certainly benefited the teachers and students here in Prosper ISD. Again, currently, the students that live in this affected area are enrolled, are permitted to enroll in Prosper ISD. We transport them like we would any other student. They're zoned for Windsong Ranch Elementary, Rushing Middle School, and Richland High School. They pay taxes, as you can see, to Denton County, Denton ISD, and the town of Prosper as we speak today. Section 13.051 of the Education Code is where we find all of the requirements that we need to talk about tonight. And again, I'll just hit this stuff very quickly because most of it, I think, is uncontroversial. You can see the different statutory requirements there that we will go through. We did put a notice in the Star Local Media on December 5th. Denton held their hearing last week. We're holding ours here tonight. And the boards have to consider these factors and then you have to vote on a resolution here at the end of the evening tonight. And those factors are the educational interest of current students residing or future students expected to reside in the affected territory, as well as each affected school district, and then the social, economic, and educational effects of the proposed boundary change. So that's what we'll talk about tonight. You can see generally the students in the affected territory, regardless of what happens tonight, will still be permitted to attend Prosper ISD and get transportation, so that wouldn't change. Of course, the boundaries would change as we're aware. The residents of this affected territory would pay Prosper tax instead of Denton taxes if this went through. And then part of we'll talk about this more later, part of the debt from Denton ISD would be transferred over to Prosper. That's determined by the Commissioners' Courts of Denton and Collin counties, which again we'll talk about here in a second. And we're not sure what would happen with those PEF payments. We have to see if this went through first to see how that agreement would be affected. But it's possible those payments may go away or they may not, but that's kind of an unknown at this time. All right, so each of those statutory requirements there, you can see they all pass. I'll just point out why there's a question mark by a couple of them, just extra information for you. We're not taking a stance on these. We're not trying to stop this from moving forward. We're just saying there's some questions about some of this. So for this reduction of tax base versus the reduction of student membership, there are some lots that are under construction that have not yet been assessed. So in theory, that could affect this. We don't think it does. We think it meets the requirement right there. But just wanted you to point out that there is a little bit of an unknown there. Not enough for us to say it doesn't meet the requirements, but just wanted you to be aware of that. And then the other one is the signatures. It was a little bit over 50% of the signatures. There are some instances where the same address was used for multiple people, but without doing a deep dive in there, we're not going to argue about that. So we're going to say we're just not going to take a stance on whether the petition was signed by the right number of people. But just wanted you to be aware there's a little bit of a question there, but again, not enough to stop us from moving forward here tonight. All right, the first factor is the educational impact, short and simple. We do not believe there's any educational impact of this decision. Students will attend our Prosper ISD schools regardless of what happens here tonight. Transportation, nothing will change. So we don't think there's an educational impact. There's not a social impact to the students either, we don't believe. They will still go to the same schools, hang out with the same friends, do the same activities. None of that would change for students. Things would change for adults, though. So if you're an adult resident of this affected area, now you would be eligible to vote in Prosper ISD elections. You'd be eligible to run for board in these elections, and then obviously your taxes would change to go into Prosper instead of Denton. So the big thing is that it would affect these adults, but the kids really wouldn't know a difference. They would still get to go to school like they have been. All right, the economic impact is the one that is, there's a lot here and a lot of numbers, and so we'll do the best we can. Again, I'll shout out Carrie and her team. We worked really hard on just trying to give you an idea of what our best estimate is for how this would all work out. The state funding we already get, which is $62.15 a kid for that basic allotment, that wouldn't change. We're already getting that regardless of where the boundary is, because those students come to Prosper ISD. And the student expenses will stay the same too. You can see that we already we're going to continue to spend on those students like we otherwise would, regardless of where the boundary lies. So those numbers wouldn't change. There would be the additional tax revenue. The property owners in the affected territory would start paying Prosper instead of Denton. So you can see that's about a little under $16,000 in property taxes on average, we think, for each homeowner in the affected area, just to Prosper ISD. That's not the entire bill. Obviously, there's taxes to the town and county, but the Prosper part we think would be a little under $16,000. That's kind of the average out there. Because we're already in recapture, the additional, not all of the additional property tax that comes in we get to keep. We'll see here in a second. Part of it would go back to the state of Texas, and then we're not sure what would happen with that PEF funding. Again, it could cease depending on how things go with that contract if this went through. And then a big thing too is that we would accept what we're estimating as about $31.7 million of Denton's debt if this group of houses came into Prosper ISD. So you can just see generally how we get there. And again, this is something that the commissioners' courts in Denton and Colin would figure out, help us figure out for us. But our finance team, that's our best estimate there, is that it would be about 31.7 in debt coming through. But again, that number might be off. We're estimating here. It could be higher, could be lower. This is just our best guess here this evening. It's important to know, too, that we are currently, as you guys know, through the budget you adopted, obviously, in addition to this 31.7, we'll continue to pay on our own debt. Right now, for the 25-26 budget, we're dipping into our INS fund balance by about $2.2 million, so we're already paying a little bit more than we normally would toward our current debt. Obviously, that 31.7 would be on top of that, so you're looking at a fair amount of debt payment there. We hope this slide will be helpful here. Again, this is just, all of these are estimates. All of these are our experts' best guess at how this would kind of look in year one. Okay, so let's be clear. This is year one. And so you'll see there for the M&O revenue, it's about $3.8 million, we think, additional that would come in. About 2.7 in INS would come in, which gets us to about that 6.5 number. But the way we're looking at it, the way our team is looking at it, if you're taking on $31.7 million of debt, that 6.5 coming in would offset that. And then we have our estimate was about $68,000 and a recapture increase based on this amount of money coming in. So year one, you're looking at a negative $25.2 million approximately. Now that's just year one. Obviously, that number gets better as we go. Again, our best guess is it would take about 12 years to pay off that debt to get us back to a point where we're even. And then, obviously, the M&O revenue coming in would start to mean that it'd be in the positive. But the best we can tell for now, because of the amount of debt we would likely be taking on, it's going to take a little while to get to a point where we're even. That INS revenue obviously would just go right to paying off that new debt anyway. The M&O would that 3.8 is what we'd be seeing moving forward. But that's the other thing that I think is important to understand. This is all based on our best guess for numbers today. There are about 299 students out in this area. That is probably the highest that it's going to be there. It's possible it stays there for a little bit. If those numbers start to go down, which is what we're seeing in lots of other parts of the district, obviously those numbers up there go down too. And so the other thing I forgot to mention is that $31.7 million in debt is before there's any interest. Obviously, if you have debt, you're accruing interest as you go. And so while we would be chipping away at it with this extra money coming in, there'd be a little bit of that interest going onto the debt at the same time too. But again, factoring all that in, we're thinking 12-ish years is kind of our estimate for when we would get to a point where you would maybe be making money moving forward. So what you're obviously required to do at the end of this is approve or disapprove this petition through a resolution, make specific findings on your required factors. Obviously, you've got legal counsel that'll walk you through that. But again, all we're trying to do here is provide some information for you from our team of experts and kind of how they see this. And obviously, it's 100% your decision, and we would certainly support whatever the board decided to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see here now. We will have each of our speakers come up. You will be given 3 minutes to speak, and then at the end of that time, the board will ask any clarifying questions if there's any. First, we have Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith here this evening? Rob Smith? Okay, no Mr. Smith. Miss Ratton, and I hope I pronounced that correctly.
My name is Heather Ratton. I live at 4451 Liberty Drive, Prosper, in Winsong Ranch. I have 2 daughters at Rushing Middle School and a proud Raptor and Raider supporter. Good evening, trustees and Dr. Ferguson. When my family moved to Prosper in 2018, we did what so many families do, community to build our home because of its schools. We lived in temporary housing within the district so our kids could start PISD from day one, my oldest in first and my youngest in kinder. So you can imagine my shock when just a week before closing on our new home in 2019, I learned that the small section we built in of Winsong Ranch was not officially within PISD, even though all sales materials and conversations stated it was. Rather, it was under a unique agreement where even though our children are allowed to attend PISD, our tax dollars and voting support didn't. This discovery led me to do a lot of scrambling and a lot of time researching how this happened and what it would take to correct it. And with a lot of hard work from my neighbors to get us here, we're now at the time we can officially correct this to benefit PISD, not just for now, but for the long term. Here's what the data showed. First, the current arrangement, as we talked about here with PEF, it's no revenue to actual PISD, even though my kids go there. As we heard, I'm not going to talk about that because we went through that but I do think there could be an opportunity for PEF, for the homeowners association to not pay that and or vote to not do it, as well as the build-out's complete. Those numbers that were presented were when we were in peak build-out, where all that charged, and now it's just going to be on resale of homes, which of course won't happen as often. And also, there are ways to support PEF's great mission and programs as our community is creative and generous and always steps up to help when something matters to our kids. When me and a group of moms wanted to improve the playground service at Winsong Park, a park that the elementary students use every day for recess, we founded our own 501c3 and raised funds ourselves with the approval and cooperation of the town's Parks and Recreation Office. Second, the annexation produces stable long-term revenue. Long-term financial health of the district requires decisions that strengthen the revenue base. The fact that the operating and improving budgets within deficits and this annexation would provide an opportunity to secure net new additional tax revenue. Again, I can't even understand why we're having a debate. I get the debt issue, but long-term, right, for years to come, not just in the next 5 or when my children will be here. Finally, the west side of Prosper has grown. The 300-plus families impacted identify with PISD. Our children attend here. Our daily lives revolve around the PISD campuses. Aligning tax boundaries with attendance boundaries is not only logical, it strengthens the district's financial foundation and secures it for the future. There is an emotional impact here, I think, to the kids here to think that something could happen long-term and they might not go to the same school that they grew up going to. And in closing, this is ultimately a question of long-term fiscal responsibility. Part of your role and why citizens vote for you is to be responsible financial stewards of their money. This annexation gives PISD opportunity to capture revenue that we all know is desperately needed. Stable revenue.
Thank you, Ms. Ratton.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next we have Mrs. Anderson. Mrs. Anderson, Anna Karina. Mr. Pinto. Sorry.
Good evening. Ruben Pinto. I've lived in many states throughout the country, We came to Prosper specifically for the school district. So congratulations to you, because you guys have done something incredible. And my family will do what we need to do to stay in Prosper ISD. You'll hear a common story. It's not your fault, obviously, but we did not know this until it was too late, as the previous speaker said. And that's something that we need to deal with. But this is a no-brainer. Our kids go to Prosper ISD. We live in Prosper. Our tax dollars should go to Prosper. That 12-year figure may sound scary, but the one thing that I don't think has been mentioned is the consideration of, you know what the property values in Windsong are. Those are only going to increase each and every year. You can imagine what these houses are gonna be worth 10 years from now and what the property rate's gonna be. I pay about $20,000 a year in taxes. Granted, that doesn't all go to the school district, but over 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, that's a lot of money that's being left on the table. And the teachers, the counselors, the principals, everybody that's helping educate my child should be compensated for that. It makes no sense to me that I'm paying Denton, living in Prosper, going to Prosper. It's a no-brainer. I don't have anything else to say to you except please make the right choice. This is what makes sense for the students. I have 2 kids at Windsong Ranch, and they will graduate Richland, and I thank you for your vote.
Mrs. Levi.
Hello, I'm Susan Levy. I am at 4370 Corabell Lane. I am part of the affected area of Windsong. I appreciate you letting me speak. Similar to the previous speakers, I didn't find out about this. My son is still in daycare, so I didn't find out about this till the first time I went to vote. And I got a different ballot than I was expecting and found out that I don't have the opportunity to vote on things like the new stadium and things that are happening in Prosper ISD. And then to find out my taxes are going somewhere that doesn't help my community, my children's friends. And so it's really important to me that I have a voice in the area that I'm living in and where hopefully my son will get the opportunity to go to school. I picked my area thinking that it was going to be in Prosper ISD. That was really important to me when we moved from out of state. And the thought of every year, could this change? Could we get kicked out? Could we have to go back, or could we go to Denton? Would we have to drive past 5 Prosper School District locations to get to that Denton school? Would make no sense. So I really hope that you make the right decision and allow us to be permanent with Prosper ISD. Thank you.
I apologize too that I mispronounced your name, so my apologies. Mrs. Taylor.
I'm just going to read this so that I say what I need to say. First of all, I also want to thank all of you for opening in prayer tonight. I want to thank you for opening our games in prayer, our graduation ceremonies in prayer. That's huge to me. It's one of the things that I love about Prosper. I'm a local real estate expert for Prosper ISD. I also love that our town cars say, "In God We Trust." It's something I'm very proud of. My name is Angela Taylor. I'm a Windsong resident, and I'm a proud mom of a PHS 24 graduate and a future 2028 Richland graduate. I'm also a local real estate broker that specializes in Prosper ISD home sales. The shirts that the kiddos were wearing earlier tonight, the back of them said, "Find your voice," and that's why we are here tonight. We're part of this community. Our children sit beside your children in the classrooms. We volunteer alongside you. We donate, sponsor, and proudly support Prosper ISD, its programs, teachers, students, and athletes. We are Prosper proud. Yet despite our deep roots here, our voices remain unheard. We cannot vote. We have no say in the curriculum that shapes our children's futures. We cannot support new facilities at the ballot box, nor help choose the board members who guide this district. Even more concerning, we have no permanent guarantee that our children will always be allowed to attend Prosper ISD. Tonight, we ask you to make this relationship official. It's been 10 years in the making, and we're asking you to adopt us. Take us in as your own. Allow our families to stand beside you, not just in spirit, but in voice and in permanence as part of this incredible A-rated school district.
Mr. Sterling.
So first, I'll say thank you. I know a lot of some heated comments probably tonight and some things that were said, but I think the biggest piece of why you see those sitting in the room, and again, my name's Jeff Sterling, 200 Bunton Branch. I'm one of the people that also submitted the petition. Is this is a great school district. I moved across 380 to come to Prosper ISD because it's a great school district. Moved here 5 years ago. You'll see faces in the room when we were having this discussion. People were coming to me going, "We had no idea this was even an issue." And I know we all look at it and we think, well, you look at your tax payments and you go, well, did you pay tax to Prosper? Did you pay it to Denton? You would be shocked how many people didn't know. Like they just didn't pay attention, all right? When we close on our houses, you get 1,000 pieces of paper put in front of you, and some of them just overlooked that part. I'll give you my personal story with my wife, Heidi. We were closing on our house. We're a week out from closing, and all of a sudden we look at the paperwork and go, wait a minute, everything in this marketing material for Windsong Ranch, Belle Claire, who we were buying through, says Prosper ISD. Everything. If you go to the websites today, everything says Prosper ISD. There's no mention of Denton anywhere on any material. Now, I know that's not your problem, right? That's the builder, that's the developer, but it's not stated anywhere. So the big thing here is we love this school district, all right? Again, some people in this room know they moved here from across the country. We have people here that moved from California to Windsong Ranch. Now, there's a nice lagoon. We don't debate that, right? There's people that enjoy that. But we moved here for the great schools. All right, again, me across the street, others from across the country. So we thank you for giving us the time. All right, we appreciate it. But I want you to hear the voices of understanding. There's a financial impact. We understand that, okay? There's math. I know Doug and others have done math. You've got math from over here. It's somewhere right in that mix. But to me, the biggest thing comes from the tax revenue that comes from us. If it takes 12 years, if it takes 10, if it takes 15. We're 13 years now in where you've received nothing. And whether it's 10, 12, 13, 15, where could we be in 12 years, 13 years from now? So we're asking again, please consider this. We appreciate the time, the voices of those in the room, and we hope that you agree with us. Thank you.
Okay, that is all the speakers that have signed up to speak at this point in time. Now we will turn it over to the board. Is there any clarifying questions that y'all have?
I have one question on the projected tax increase on those homes. Mr. Charles mentioned it was about 100. Mr. Crownover mentioned about 15,009. Can either of you speak to that?
There's a difference in the price point of the home because we were at 1.3 million. He was a little bit lower than that, I believe around 1.1 million, if I remember correctly from his presentation.
Do you mind?
Yeah.
I got it.
I'd like to also answer as well.
So, are we gonna
No,
both
go
stand here?
We're partners in the same thing?
It's not a 15.9 increase. It was, the amount would be 15,900.
On average.
Does that make sense? So he was talking about what it would go up. That's not how much it would go up. That, our estimate is, that would be the tax total amount. Does that make sense?
For the ISD.
From the ISD, yeah. Not, it's not a 15,000 up, no, not at all. I'm just saying that would be the total
Because,
amount.
I mean, at the end of the day, our numbers aren't that different. When you really looked at the numbers that he presented, they're spot on. The only difference is he's trying to front load the whole $31 million in the first piece. You get to make that payment just like you would traditionally. See, when you think about cash flow, I don't know how it works in your home, but when I go borrow money to buy a car, unless I pay for the full balance, I pay that through my cash flow. You're gonna have that, the numbers that I showed are about your cash flow. You're gonna have about $3 to $4 million in real cash flow. And the homeowners, yes, we're going to bear about $100 on average. So ours, because the lots are included in the 466 homes, you guys limited it to just homes. Of course, the homes are worth anywhere from 1.5 to 2 million in some of these cases and beyond. I averaged 4 million. Okay, thank you guys out there. So 4 million, but when you average a lot of the lots that aren't purchased yet, it drove mine down. But at the end of the day, it's 533 million. And to the great question that was asked, if you look at the model, everyone go look at the detailed model that I put together. In 30 years, that's over $1 billion just in these 466 homes, if they stay appreciating at a minimal 5% rate. So I'd answer that question that way. I think we really agree. It was only about $100 difference. And in future years, compression is going to pull that down, and Denton ISD is going to be more expensive than Prosper.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dial.
Dr. Ferguson, that was really where my question was from both presentations, was the 31 million is not a year one impact, it's a over 12 year. Okay.
And is 12 years what is in the statute, or is that just what we're basing the numbers off of? Could it be 10, could it be 15?
As Mr. Crownover said, it could end up being more, because we just had to go off of what
Yeah.
we knew. at
But
this
the AM,
time.
or we're gonna AM it over, is the 12 years that we both used on our model, is that standard, or
So-
could we find out later that it's 10 years, or find out that it's 15 years?
It could be more.
It could be,
Okay.
so you have choices. So let me give you the answers. You have choices. The choices are simple. In the detail, every bond, you guys are very familiar with bonds and when you issue them. So as your one bond has been issued, whether it's 100 million or 300 million or 400 million, it starts a payment term. The next year you don't take into withdrawal, the next year you do, the next year you don't. As each one of those years progress, you either get to by law. Now listen, I've had 5 lawyers go through this for the last 18 months, all right? I may not be like 100% right, but I'm like pretty darn close. You will be able to have and sit down with the commissioner's court, and you guys will decide. I can either write a check, stroke it up, you get to pay it off over the time of the bonds that remain. And if you go look at the bond schedule that Denton's full debt is, it's publishable. This is data you guys can get, or go to my website and see it. So there's the 12 years worth of debt. I estimated worst case scenario, 25 years, but based upon everything else, 15 years. But here's the key provision. The law allows you to refinance in this situation. You get to refinance this bond. So it'd be like buying a new car and then refinancing, or buy a new house and refinancing it. You get to then re-amortize this debt if you choose to. So you have choices. You will not be paying $31 million unless you choose to. Just like when you buy a car or buy a house. The debt payment is chosen. You will negotiate that debt payment over the number of years you choose to do, or re-amortize that debt. It's clear in the law. Just go read 13051. It is not in your little executive session. Read it. It's clear there. There is no ambiguity. I'm begging, right? The data is so clear. So
Mr.
I just
Dial.
wanted to answer that question.
Is your question answered?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks.
That 31 million is not flexible, like that's the debt, right? Like you can't renegotiate that. You can renegotiate the interest rate on it, right? The terms, but you still gotta pay the 31 million.
And because this doesn't become effective, if you guys approve tonight, and then it goes to the TEA, they have 30 to 60 days to make the approval. After that, Denton will have 30 days to take it to court. Then it's effective July 1st of that year. It's gonna be 30 days before, after the TEA. At that point, the two districts with the commissioner's court will sit down and actually finalize what the debt is. Because you know what? The sooner you do it, Denton ISD is issuing debt right now. So the sooner you make this decision, the less debt you're going to have to allocate to us. So for those who don't know how the allocation works, it's total ISD, Denton ISD, total tax base, divided by the Winsong Ranch tax base. That's about 1.5%. So you take the total Denton debt of their ISD, and you take that, whatever that percentage is, 1.4, 1.5, whatever you want. I love your number because it's lower. I'd love to have it be 420 million instead of 533 million, because it'd be lower, and you would have less debt. Again, Denton ISD, go listen. It's about 15 minutes. Go listen to them. They said 22 million. I found that wrong. I'm in the 32, 33 million myself when I look at it. So David, that's how that works. And I apologize that I want to make sure you get informed information, but it is in the law. It's in the regulation. So there's just no guessing. It's in the regulation. You get the opportunity. And research, it says you get a unique opportunity to refinance or carry the schedule. Guys, just carry the schedule. You need cash flow.
Mr.
Carry
Webb,
the schedule.
is your question answered?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Other questions?
You have a clarifying question, Dr. Ferguson. So current load right now of debt right now, if I understand it correctly, our payments are, we're pulling about $2.25 million out of fund balance to cover current debt load, correct?
Correct.
That's this fiscal year?
Yes, sir.
And so if we layer on the 31.7, depending on the terms and whatever interest associated, that would likely grow that 223 to a larger number depending on the annual payment. So if we took it over, I think the stat we heard was 12 years.
Yes.
So call it $2.5 to $3 million annually, depending on terms and interest and repayment. Then we would need to pull roughly $5 million and change from fund balance to cover the load. Is that a safe assumption?
Will impact our bond sales and what we're able to do as far as the renovations and new builds that we have for the future.
Okay.
Tommy, one of the pieces that you have to think about, right, is the question's a great question. And you're a great steward. All of you are great stewards. That's a great question. But don't forget, you're not gonna have to dive into your fund. We're bringing 6.5 million. Your own data said you're bringing about 6.5 million. The INS rate itself will cover debt and ISD payments and give you surplus. Again, look at it from a cash flow perspective. Look at it from your checkbook, like if you are balancing your checkbook. You're not gonna dip into funds. We're not, and that's the wonderful thing about the section. Not every annexation could do this, but because we have some $4 million homes, we're able to help bring and cover our own debt. We're bringing net revenue on an annualized basis, no matter how you slice it, you're getting about $3 to $4 million in net revenue, unless you decide to bond it all up right away. Then the numbers are simple and clear. So I just wanted to comment there because it feels like you guys are saying that you're gonna have to pull debt when we're bringing $6.5 million by your own numbers. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mr. Van Wolf, you good?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was just clarifying, I was curious on what the delta of that was gonna be.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Dr. Ferguson, I did have one question. We do know in this right now, this is best information at this point in time. We do know that the state legislature meets every 2 years. It looks like they change a bit. If I think back over the last 12 years' times, there's been a lot that's happened. Is there any reason to believe that this would continue to change over the next 12 years' time? Different laws that are put into place that will affect school funding?
Definitely. Just what is actually.
Excuse me, hold on.
What is
This is for Dr.
actually-
Ferguson, if you could please. Let her, you could please.
What is actually.
Sir, please. We can hear her up here, and so that is what we are trying to do. All right, sir, if you could please, just let us listen to this.
I understand, we don't need to hear.
Thank you, sir. All right.
What is actually on the table right now is cutting school property taxes. That's what is on the governor's agenda. And if school property taxes get cut, that will have a significant impact on school finance and what we're able to do.
No need to put that microphone in front of me.
All right, sir, I'm giving you a warning now. If you could please just be quiet. We're trying to listening.
We cannot hear.
Sir, thank you. We can up here. So we are taking care of it. So thank you very much. We're trying to keep this very much pleasant, get information, and we're doing that. Is there any other questions to be asked?
I had a question. I wanted to just clarify the numbers as we work through tonight to kind of look at the bottom line. Understanding that the numbers were similar and that not exact. That's fluid, given the number of students, the number of homes, and the values. But roughly that the numbers given tonight are correct on both sides. Mr. Charles had mentioned the 3.7 million net coming in. Mr. Cronover, you had mentioned that we bring in the 3.1 million from PEF the last 3 years. So to understand that, with the money going to PEF, that money directly benefits our students in Prosper ISD and is not subject to recapture.
That's correct.
Correct?
Correct.
I could comment there, please.
We can't hear her.
Well,
On behalf of all of us.
Yeah, so if I could comment, Dina, you get no control of the trustee. So right now, that's a declining revenue. Let's be very clear. That revenue from Winsong Ranch is declining over the last 5 years. So the total number happened over 2 years. I've got the exact numbers on the website. It's going to probably average about $350,000 to $450,000. I am on the board now. I'm elected on the board of Winsong Ranch, so I have those numbers and presented those numbers from the budget and reviewed them with Prosper Education Foundation's vice president. I sent them to them as well. So my only point is, you have a third party handing it out, call it a slush fund, if you'd like, to do whatever you need to do. And I don't mean that negative, I mean that positive, like wherever you need to sort of put that into the atmosphere, that's great. But you get no budget authority, you get no bonding authority, you get nothing. You are a trustee that's responsible for the health and the welfare of this district financially. You should want every dollar under your own control because Prosper Education Foundation will continue to thrive. So it has $3.2 million in assets today. That is strong. So we've given it a strong 12-year advantage that they're going to continue to leverage to the benefit of our total community. We're not anti-Prosper Education Foundation. We're pro you as the stewards of our financial money, making your own decisions and deploying it properly. Because when that $533 million in your predecessors, maybe one of your kids are up here sitting, up here on this trustee board, may have $1 billion out of these 466 homes. Talk about school financing. We don't know what the state's gonna do, but at the end of the day, what we do know is today, under the current law, the way it sits today, you're going to have real money that you get to control, you get to determine how it's gonna be used, while Prosper Education Foundation will continue to thrive. So I just wanted to, I appreciate you giving me, I mean, I think it's a great question, Dina, and I just want you to control it. I want this board to collectively control my tax dollars and let the volunteerism and the donations flow into Prosper Education Foundation to be used for the benefit of the students. Again, slush fund, I didn't mean it to be negative, I meant it to be positive, that it could be, distributed where budgets can't quite get to, right? Like the little luncheon thing, right? So it's got a great use, it's not going away.
Ms. Dixon, you good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from board members? Okay, thank y'all. We will now close this portion of the meeting. Next portion that we have up is public comment. There's no one signed up to speak this evening, so that will take us to the superintendent's report.
Yes, so we had great turnout at Launch Your Journey. Over 2,600 community members, students came to see what our schools had to offer. We hosted these at all 4 high schools, and it was an opportunity to open our doors. Families could go from Richland to PHS, wherever they wanted to go to see what we offered. And so really want to do hats off to Ms. Cockrell and her team, our Chief Academic Officer. They did an outstanding job of presenting information, but really looking at that 6-year academic plan, 4-year academic plan, and then what would be needed in order to be able to acquire those things, but then for our visitors to actually get a hands-on experience with our students leading that alongside our teachers. Really overwhelmingly successful and a great way to really get our community in our schools, which is what we want. And then staff superintendent advisory, we've been having a lot of conversations around school finance, as you can imagine, because that is a real reality. A lot of questions about the schools districts that are closing schools around us that are coming through the staff. Being able to get feedback from each of them, just for everybody's knowledge too, these are not just teachers or classroom teachers. It's a mixture of paraprofessionals, professional staff, support staff, alongside our professional educators. And so really great information that they're giving us, but also being able to really inform us on what they're wanting to see as the future. We're excited because the Prosper Education Foundation will be coming in to do listening circles at our next time together to be able to hear how those funds are being utilized and what they want to see in the future also. So we're really looking forward to that, for them to weigh in on that piece of our budget that we're able to access through the Education Foundation. And then our seasoned citizen luncheon, certainly always a huge hit with our community. And our visitors are always blown away by our students and the way that they serve them, whether it's our hostess students that are out on the steps making sure that everyone gets safely into the community room, or our students who are performing, along with our culinary students who go above and beyond to wait hand and foot, literally, on these individuals. Each of these visitors also being able to experience our fashion design students who make ornaments for them, but also our floral design students who make the different floral arrangements that are in the center pieces, as well as the poinsettias that we give away. And many of them have already said they are looking forward to being able to come back in the spring for our Bluebonnet brunch. So we're really excited to be able to do that. And they're always so thankful too that we have a district that honors our citizens, senior citizens in the community, is always a comment that I get.
Was it a mad rush for the poinsettias again this year?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I think she laid the law, I mean, the
I
rules
did.
down.
I gave a few rules and told them no throwing elbows on the way up. And then our student enrollment, you can see where we are right now currently. So an add year over year, 1,993 students, for a grand total of our student population at 33,748 students. And then we have our bond projects and construction projects, short video.
Shortest video we've had in a while.
Yes, getting a little bit shorter, for sure.
Okay, that brings us to consent agenda. Let's see here. I need to abstain from F on this one. Anyone else, anything on consent agenda?
Yes, I need to abstain from 10C for professional reasons.
Okay, and mine is for professional reasons also. Hearing that, is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Any discussion on consent agenda? All right, hearing none, all in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. Motion passes. That brings us to action item 11. Consideration possible action regarding an order of election to be held on May 2nd, 2026, to elect school board trustees, place 2 and place 5. Is there a motion for this?
Yeah, I move that the board approve the order of election to be held on May 2nd, 2026 to elect school board of trustees, place 2 and place 5.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Any discussion on this? All right, hearing none, all in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed, so that passes. We will now recess into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 071, 072, 074, and 076. Thank you so much. We are now back from closed session. The time is 10:48 p.m. That brings us to item 13A, consideration and possible action regarding hiring contract personnel. Is there a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion. Move the board approve hiring contract personnel as recommended by the administration.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? That is all 7 of us. 13A passes. And brings us to 13B, consideration and possible action regarding possible action to adopt a resolution approving or rejecting the petition for detachment and annexation. Let's see here. This, I will say, we'll have discussion on this here in a second, but we need to go ahead and have a motion on this.
I'll make the motion. I move to adopt a resolution approving the petition for detachment and annexation and making the following findings. 1, the educational interests of PISD students in the affected territory will be positive, as those students will have the permanent right to attend Prosper ISD. Number 2, the educational interest of other PISD and Denton ISD students will be neutrally affected. Number 3, the social effect for the affected territory will be positive due to the ability to vote in Prosper ISD elections. Number 4, the economic effect for Prosper ISD will be positive due to the increased tax revenue to account for the educating costs for the students.
All right, thank you, Mr. Linker. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Okay, we have a motion and a second. That now brings us to discussion on this. I know we spent a good time going over this evening. Any thoughts that anyone wants to share?
I just want to thank, I know that the petitioners put a lot of time and effort into this, this petition, but also to the district staff. A lot of hours and time went into that as well from that end. And appreciate all the work to bring us the details tonight so that we could go and make the best decision that we could tonight.
Thoughts, comments from anyone?
No thoughts or comments, just that I'll be abstaining from this vote for professional reasons.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just second Dina's thank you guys to staff and the petitioners as well to put the amount of time and effort into this. I know this is unprecedented times for us to navigate as a board, and we're learning as we go, and we appreciate the guidance and the help and the data provided, because I know I can at least speak for me. It's a decision based upon the financial impact to the district. It's no mystery that school funding is a opportunity for us in the state of Texas, and we've continued to have to do more with less. And I know our staff are taking on additional responsibilities, additional headcount, or lack of additional headcount to do additional responsibilities, and essentially doing more with less, not just in Prosper ISD, but everywhere. And so we want to be good stewards to our community and the financial resources. And so if you look at the financial impact of helping our situation, knowing that we already have the kids, that helped me navigate some of this as you look at the dollars and cents associated with the move.
I know as we have looked at this at length, we have. I hope we're right on this. The numbers are, hey, out there for the future. This is not something that just exists in a vacuum, right? That we know that there are changes that will occur in the future. So. I do hope that we are correct on this. There is, with all the information that we had, I know we are still operating under, we're making certain assumptions on stuff. It certainly gives me pause on that, but I hope we're right. But we don't know at the end of the day, So that's my thoughts on it. Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, we have a motion and a second, 2 abstentions from this. We'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor? That is 5 of us, no opposed votes, 2 abstentions, so this does pass. 13B. Okay, that brings us to item 14. That is our adjournment for this evening. The time is 10:53 p.m. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.